Hi guys, it's SkintBoot here, and today what I'm going to be bringing you guys is a new episode of This Week in No Man's Sky. And do you guys know why this episode is so special? Because it's actually been a week! Oh my fucking god. This is the first time I've ever released one of these episodes actually on time, which is absolutely fucking amazing. Probably won't last, but hey ho, it's pretty nice for the one time this will happen. So in case you guys are a little unfamiliar with this series is all about me talking about the week's events of No Man's Sky or the No Man's Sky community in a much more informal way. If you guys watch my other content, then you know that I spend a lot of time editing audio, doing visual effects and all of these fancy gimmicks. This Week in No Man's Sky is a series which aims to strip that all back and just gives you raw commentary about events and about opinions and just kind of everything like that. Now, I would recommend putting this in the background while you, I don't know, play No Man's Sky, you tidy your room, something like that. I like to treat this kind of like a podcast. Kind of like something which you don't sit and watch. You kind of put it in the background and get on with your day and what have you. But anyway, regardless of how you watch or listen to these videos, the last one I did was all about the gameplay problem of No Man's Sky. This was a video which I wouldn't technically class as a This Week in No Man's Sky, but I put that in the title anyway to kind of get away with talking and rambling for however long it was, 20 minutes, without any editing, basically. So, because of that, I feel like I should give you a more traditional This Week in No Man's Sky. And for this episode, we're going to be looking into two things, one of which I have spoken about an absolute shit ton, and the other, which I have also spoken an absolute shit ton about. So, yeah, I might be repeating myself a little bit, but again, you know, put this in the background, get on with your day, and let's get started. So, the first thing which I want to talk about is Vulkan. Now, as I've said before, I made a few videos talking about Vulkan. In case you don't know, Vulkan is essentially a graphics API, and it is one which No Man's Sky does not use. No Man's Sky uses OpenGL, which is kind of outdated now, I guess you could say. But on PC, there is a experimental build on Steam which allows you to opt into a Vulkan test build. Now, in theory, Vulkan as an API should help AMD users. It should help people with older graphics cards and older processors. And generally speaking, it is just a lot better for performance than OpenGL is. Now, because consoles are AMD dominated, you know, the Xbox One and PS4 basically have AMD processors, Vulkan instead of OpenGL should be a load better for consoles, and there should be massive improvements to frame rate. I kind of lost my breath there, it's all that crack I keep smoking. But because of this Vulkan experimental build, this isn't the full package. If you opt into this build, then yeah, you're getting a little bit of Vulkan, but the point is, it's kind of like a test. It's a little tiny sample of more things to come in the future. When No Man's Sky Beyond does finally release, Vulkan support will be finalized, and Vulkan support will 100% replace OpenGL. So Hello Games including this tiny little Vulkan experimental build basically gives them an idea of how it affects us. It allows them to change some things, get some feedback and what have you, but it also gives us a sneak peek of what things are going to be like. Now, I have opted into the Vulkan experimental build, you know, the first one. I haven't dabbled in the newer one, which supposedly is a little bit more stable. It prevents some more crashes, more stuttering, because from what I can tell, it only seems to be those with 2 GPUs, older integrated CPUs, and stuff that doesn't quite apply to me. I actually reverted back to regular No Man's Sky because I wanted to play with some mods, and mods, generally speaking, aren't too friendly with Vulkan. There are a few, but the majority haven't yet been updated to support it. And the reason why I don't rate Vulkan all that much, and I probably haven't said this in a video before actually, but I honestly don't rate Vulkan. You know, I don't rate the experimental build, and that is because for me it doesn't do a great deal. When I had the build on, I noticed, you know, slight differences here and there. You know, moving the camera was a little bit smoother, stuff didn't lag out my game so much, and all of that kind of general performance improvements, but really it wasn't big enough of a deal for me to get excited. And this is because I had seen a lot of people who dropped comments on the Vulkan video saying, yeah, I've got a Nvidia card, so like a 970, and I can fucking max a game out at 4K, 144 Hz and all this shit. And I'm sat here like, it's basically the same. So some people, it's like an absolute godsend, and some people are really, you know, hailing it as the fucking second coming of Jesus Christ. I myself have not noticed anything so impactful that I would play with the experimental build over the regular No Man's Sky build, but again, that is because it is just a taster. If you are sat there thinking Vulkan is a piece of shit, it does nothing for me, why are they going with this for Beyond and VR and all of that stuff? Well, just remember, when Vulkan is fully implemented, then you are going to have twice the features, twice the possibilities, probably more, probably 10 times the possibilities for improvements here and there. The experimental is literally a taster, so if it doesn't help you out extremely like it helps me out, or it doesn't help me out, should I say, then don't fret, you know? Things further down the line will be better, and I can tell already that it's going to do wonders for No Man's Sky's performance, especially on console. This is because, you know, console optimization for No Man's Sky is just fucking dreadful. I have a copy of No Man's Sky for PlayStation 4. It's actually the reason why I bought my PS4, so I could interact more with the PS4 No Man's Sky community, but I just don't touch it because the frame rate is so iffy. Now, of course, people with pros and good computers don't have problems with No Man's Sky running a bit funky, you know, crashes, stuttering, things like that. Prime example is Sword, who's got a GTX 2060, I think it is, which is a fucking lot of money, but credit to him, he's got a beastly PC, and he does not worry about performance in the slightest. So consoles definitely need more of a touch-up than PCs, because you can get a fucking banging rig on PC and have absolutely zero issues. But everyone on console either has a base PS4 or a Pro or a Slim Xbox or whatever, so everyone's kind of on the same boat. And console 100% needs that optimization push a fucking load more than PC does. So yeah, to sum up my thoughts about Vulkan, I'm very surprised that Hello Games gave us a test build, because this is not something they do usually. It makes sense to only put it on PC because Steam allows for test builds, you can opt in and out of them, which is really handy. But I am extremely surprised that they have gone ahead and done this and actually continue to basically fix and change this experimental build of Vulkan. It's absolutely wonderful, it's really nice, and I'm fucking glad that they've done that. So, with Vulkan out of the way, of course, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Beyond. So, when talking about Beyond, obviously there's so much to talk about, I don't even know where to begin, but the main thing which I want to address is this whole idea that Beyond will release in June, or Beyond will be an early summer kind of release window. So, the video I made yesterday was basically me summing up all of the evidence that suggests No Man's Sky Beyond will launch extremely early, earlier than we used to, as in not July and not August. So basically June or maybe the end of May. So in this video, I spoke about the test files which Hello Games have been requesting, our save files to basically test with Beyond to see if they work, and there was also some stuff to do with, you know, how Next was released in July, Atlas Rises was released in August, the one that hasn't been done yet is June, and so forth. Now, the one bit of information which has changed since I made that video was actually the bit to do with the Valve Index. Now, in case you don't know, the Valve Index is a piece of virtual reality hardware that Valve have been developing for fuck knows how long. Valve are very big on VR, probably so big that they don't make any of the third games which people want. But the point is, they have finally unveiled their piece of hardware. It's called the Index. It's about $1,000. It's a very high-end virtual reality headset. Now, on the Index's advertisement page, there was a short clip of No Man's Sky VR being played just in the trailer. It was no exclusive gameplay, anything like that. And this led a lot of people to believe that the Index and No Man's Sky VR had some kind of connection. Maybe not exclusivity, but they would release around the same time, because if a product is advertised alongside another product, and when one of them releases, if the other has not released with that, then it's kind of a bit false advertisement, I guess you could say. Maybe not that, but people would get a little bit frustrated if they were shown a product with something they've bought and that thing has not yet come out. It would cause a little bit of friction, I guess you could say. So, because the Index was releasing in June as of that video being made, it was a nice connection to Beyond, if we were going off the fact that Beyond would have to release around the same time as the Index would drop. However, once I rendered out that video yesterday and I went on the old Googles to look up some Index stuff, I found out that the Index release date was actually pushed back to August. Okay, big fucking news. So what this means, I honestly could not tell you. I don't think it's going to affect No Man's Sky that much anyway. Mainly because No Man's Sky VR is not some kind of, Index exclusive. It's not some tie between Hello Games and Valve, anything like that. So in theory, they can exist without one another. I get a certain degree of overthinking and over sort of reacting to the Valve Index and the No Man's Sky footage being shown alongside it. If it was any other game, we wouldn't be freaking out this much. However, the Index being pushed back to August doesn't mean that No Man's Sky VR and Beyond will drop in August. Not in the slightest. I don't think that is even a possibility. Looking at it right now, all the signs point towards Beyond being near completion. I mean, the most groundbreaking and solid information is Hello Games testing our saves for Beyond. Now, if that doesn't confirm that the update is in a good enough stage to even consider testing old saves for compatibility, then I don't know what is. As I said in my previous video, there is absolutely zero point in testing a save on something which is not complete. That makes zero fucking sense whatsoever. It's like installing Windows on a computer that doesn't have a fucking stick of RAM, or it doesn't have a case, or something stupid like that. It's half complete. There is zero point in doing that. So for all of you thinking, okay, the Valve Index has been delayed to August, this must mean that No Man's Sky Beyond and No Man's Sky VR will drop around the same time. No, it doesn't. It does not mean that in the slightest. If we had direct confirmation somehow that No Man's Sky VR was a tie-in to the Index, that there was something going on with Valve and Hello Games, they're in some kind of partnership, then yeah, okay, that would definitely be an option. But right now, all we know is that No Man's Sky VR was shown on a page, and they could have used any game, as I've said before. So, if you're worrying that this means that Beyond is going to drop in August, I highly, highly doubt it. Right now, there would be zero sense in pushing Beyond back to August when there seems to be a lot finished. I mean, No Man's Sky VR must be finished for them to even show footage of it. The only red flags which some people have brought up, and I do agree with them to a pretty large extent, is the fact that we still are a little shady on the other two parts of the update. No Man's Sky VR is the one thing which we know for certain is done, or very near being done, because we have seen gameplay, we found out some details on motion and, how we're going to do actions to get multi-tools out and stuff like that. But the other two parts, we aren't as sure on. I mean, obviously, part 3 is completely unknown, and I'm hoping that we're going to get information on that soon, but that is still arguably the biggest part of Beyond if they're saving it to last, which has not yet been discussed, and that does kind of worry some people. And the other part, which I haven't even considered, is the fact that No Man's Sky Online is again not being shown off. We have some very scarce details. I mean, very ambiguous details that we can hold absolutely nothing to Hello Games if things fuck up. They have not said any kind of features, any kind of promises. They have literally said No Man's Sky Online is going to be like an MMO, but just not an MMO, and that's about it. We haven't seen any artwork, we haven't really seen any kind of, intricate details, let alone gameplay or a trailer. So if we look at it from that standpoint, then yeah, No Man's Sky VR seems to be the only thing that is finished. The fact that they have spoken about No Man's Sky Online means that it's probably in the very late stages of development, but they just need to take a little bit more time in order to get some stuff together and show off gameplay. Maybe when they show part 3, they're going to show a trailer for No Man's Sky Online and No Man's Sky VR all in one, basically. I think that would make a little bit more sense instead of, going back to No Man's Sky Online, which was the first thing that was announced, and then going forward to the third part. I just can't see that happening. It's so disjointed, it's all over the place. So I reckon that once part 3 is finished, maybe then they will show a No Man's Sky Online trailer. Maybe No Man's Sky Online is finished, but again, they are waiting for part 3 to be in that stage of development to show it off, so then they can include the No Man's Sky Online trailer as well. I think that makes a great deal of logical sense. But again, what applies and what I have always said is that what we have at this point in time is way more information than we have ever received before. If you think back to Atlas Rises, we obviously had Waking Titan as our main source of information. Fuck it, even Next was done through Waking Titan, which I find incredible to think that that really happened. But Atlas Rises, we knew barely anything apart from portals. That was all we knew, up until release, and then everything was unveiled in the trailer. With Next, we knew that there was some kind of overhaul. We knew that it was announced that it would be a big fucking update. We knew a rough release date because Sean gave it to us. Again, the trailer dropped through Waking Titan, so there wasn't as much information. There was a little more being left in the dark and a little bit more kind of mystery and secrecy that comes along with using your ARG to advertise an update for a game. But if we look at Beyond, okay, we have no ARG. For the first time in a very, very long time, we have a major update that isn't being advertised through an alternate reality game. This isn't a thing where we're working out little snippets of information, where we're getting words like Phoenix to, shag and look up, and we're not phoning up fucking Chinese takeaways in London anymore. We are just getting straightforward information. And if you are sat there thinking that this doesn't feel that different to Next, or this doesn't feel that different to Atlas Rises, then you are wrong. This is incredibly different. This is such a different approach to advertising something, and the information that we have right now, this early on, compared to other updates, i.e. Atlas Rises and Next, shows that something different is up. There has been a change in the development attitude of Hello Games, or alternatively, they are just very, very close to being finished. Now, the one final piece of evidence which I do want to talk about is the fact that Hello Games said that Beyond initially started out as 3 separate updates. Now, what this means is that they were likely working on one part of Beyond, maybe 2, maybe all 3 of them, probably after Vision's released, or maybe even around the kind of Next being birthed kind of era. The point is, a lot of game development studios often work on their next project as soon as their current project is released. Prime example is Bethesda. In 2015, when they were unveiling Fallout 4 at E3, Todd Howard said that they'd start work on Fallout 4 as soon as Fallout 3 released, which was in 2008. So that is a very long time. And this is not common for stuff like this to happen. It happens all the time. I think it's generally how game development studios work. So what I'm trying to get at here is that Hello Games haven't just started development. They haven't said, right, Beyond is a thing, now we're going to start making it. They have been working on this update probably since Visions, and maybe even before. So that was about November, and it's now fucking May. So this, again, is one big fat clump of evidence to support the fact that the update must be nearly done in the final stages of development at least. So, to conclude, I am fucking hyped for Beyond. I am so goddamn excited for it, and I hope it drops in June so I can play it and bang out videos before I go off to university and have to fuck around with taking my computer there and forth and what have you. I'm especially looking forward to making content on it, considering now I'm full-time and I don't have to look at the update trailer when I'm putting my shit in my locker at work. I can instead be at home in my shirt and tie with my cup of coffee and my vape and get instantly into making content. So guys, I am very, very excited for Beyond, in case you can't tell. But yeah, hopefully this episode was a little bit better than the last one, a little bit less kind of angry, shouty, all of that stuff. As always guys, if you did enjoy this video, then please do feel free to leave a like on it. And if you guys could also subscribe to MZK, it always happens, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. And as always, I will see you guys, oh god, on my next video. This is SkintBoot throwing up. Fucking hell, what's going on?